on Facebook, tweet, write a blog post, talk to your friends. Stay woke. Just stay woke. Don't let what the media is saying, what people are saying about the protesters and the looting, don't let that become the story, because that's not the real story. The real story is an 18-year-old boy was gunned down in his back, okay, with his hands in the air, and then left there for 4 hours before an ambulance showed up.
Thrown in the SUV, not an ambulance, an SUV.
An SUV, that's the real story. Okay, the real story is black and brown lives are expendable right now. Just like
all
they have
of them are. Everyone's live too. The fucking guy in Utah was just shot too. It's about trigger-happy police. It's about trigger-happy police.
To the police.
Don't make this about you. This ain't about you.
Woo! That one person changed somebody's life.
Hi, everybody. I just want to point out and kind of highlight something that the woman who just spoke said. We're reading about police gunning down people and killing people through unapproved chokeholds, and young black men walking through neighborhoods and being shot by neighborhood volunteers. And I just want to say, it is actually a color thing. It's not all, we're not all affected the same way. And when you're reading, when I watched Eric Garner die on YouTube, when I watched someone choke him from behind and kill him as he pled for breath and couldn't breathe, that's not an America that I have to face because I'm white. And that's an America that other people do have to face. And that's terrible. And so I know that you're talking about police brutality, and it does affect everybody, but it doesn't affect us all equally. It affects people who are brown and people who are black much more horrifically.
And if I could just add to that, when white kids are gunned down by the police, they don't show pictures of them looking like thugs on television and pretend that that justifies their murder. Right? They don't. They don't take like some stupid Facebook picture that you posted at a party and make that the representation of you on national television and make the cop look like favorite saint, which is what they've done every single time, is blame the victim, pull out, you know, the sort of thug card on African-American kids in this country. Trayvon Martin was supposed to be our lesson for this country to learn something about what racism looks like, but wearing a hoodie was enough to enrage, you know, racist passions in this country. So let's not beat around the bush. This absolutely has to do with race, and it is part of the DNA of the American police force. Little drops of knowledge, little known fact. The American police are descendants of slave catchers, right? The institution itself was organized as a way to catch slaves who had run away. This is exactly what this institution has grown out of and what it continues to do in the present moment. I just want to add one quick thing, which is that for the last month I have spent with some activists who are here organizing protests about what's been going on in Palestine and about the extraordinary amount of violence that Palestinians face from Israeli weapons and munitions around the country. And this should bring home to many of us here that the world is actually deeply connected, and the kinds of violence that people face because of the color of their skin, their nationality, etc., has been used as a justification for extraordinary kinds of collective punishment. In Gaza, it is turning that place into an open-air prison. Here, we just put African Americans in prison, and the collective punishment is exactly the same. But the reason I want to say that, and this is, I don't know if you all watched President Obama's press conference today. I, like all of you, have been horrified at the kind of racism that has been unleashed at President Obama, but a man who gives a blank check to Israel to drop bombs on Palestinians has no business telling people in Ferguson, Missouri, not to riot.
Yeah!
No business telling people to stay calm. No business at all. And systemic racism President Obama has suffered through, much of it we've all witnessed and seen it happen. But hectoring the people in Ferguson, standing up for their rights against the racist police force, while at the same time funding the Israeli military's systematic campaign of genocide against the Palestinians, this president has no business lecturing anybody about how to behave, what kind of ethics, what kind of morality they should have. He is perpetrating violence every single day. So let us attempt to draw connections here. I think that the themes that people have been talking about trying to connect and organize our communities are incredibly important. I helped to organize with this group called the People's Task Force. There's the ones who are passing out the flyers for the meeting coming up in September. Lucian has some here too. It would be great if we could find a way to stay connected and continue to organize, because one thing I can guarantee you, and it pains me to say this, but I said this right after Trayvon Martin, it will happen again. It will happen again. There is nothing currently that exists in this country to check the police from getting away with this kind of stuff, and it happens again and again. We say it won't happen again, and it happens again. Trayvon was supposed to be the time when we woke up to the reality of this kind of racist violence, but it happens again and again. Happened yesterday. Happened yesterday. So it is time that those of us who are out here understand ourselves as organizers and take that job really, really seriously, to draw some connections, connect some communities together, and make sure that the police are held accountable once and for all. I've been really proud to work with Allyisa Fowler and the Jackson family, who have been courageously standing up to the police force as the Austin police, the media in Austin have demonized her brother, who was gunned down, unarmed man, gunned down by the police. This story is the same story of what happened in Ferguson. Same story. And until we are able to exert the kind of pressure and force capable of stopping the police from getting away with it, it will continue to happen. And that is, I think, the kind of lesson that we've got to take for the last couple of years of watching and following the issues around police brutality, is that it requires human organizing at this level to be able to make a dent, because for all of the bluster of the politicians, the things that they are doing are not enough to make a serious change in what the cops are doing here on the ground. They have circled the wagons around Art Acevedo here in Austin. He gets away with bloody murder every single time one of his officers fires and kills somebody. And he has a record of officers who've done this. They had to call the federal government out a number of times to investigate the racism of the Austin Police Department. So please, if I can implore any of you to become organizers today or get involved in something, it will make an inordinate amount of difference, because it will happen again unless we do something about it. All right, that was me on my soapbox.
So, speaking of social media activism, I think it's really important, but I want to thank all of you for showing up in physical space, because we need to be visible. And I wanted to share, I know that people can get really uncomfortable when it comes to conversations around race, so I wanted to share something that I actually wrote on Facebook a couple days ago, and that sparked some really good comments on my wall. It's a message for white people, and I say this as a biracial woman who grew up between a white and Hispanic family. I think that biracial children actually have a lot of amazing insight to offer the conversations about race. So here's what I have to say. I don't like calling you white. I recognize that this does not acknowledge your cultural and ethnic heritage, just as it doesn't when I say brown or black people. This is one way in which the construct of race hurts all of us. However, given that the construct of race exists and has existed for quite a while now, and given that it has been used to justify slavery, mass rape, murder, and genocide of countless people, and given that we still benefit from the color of our skin, it is absolutely relevant. So I have some questions for you. Are you afraid to speak out against racism? Are you afraid that your white friends will become angry with you or defriend you? Why? Can you imagine what it must feel like for the brown and black people of this country and beyond to try to have these conversations with white people?
Can you imagine how many of them are too afraid to even begin having these conversations with white people? Can you feel their anger, their sadness, their rage, their fear? Can you imagine being murdered, or more likely to be put through the trauma of prison because of the color of your skin? Why do you not share in that fear? I took an anti-racism workshop years ago through the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. One of the things that struck me most was a heated conversation between a black and white man. The black man grew angry, detailing his experiences with overt and covert racism. The white man was uncomfortable and asked how he could possibly help in ending racism. He sought to understand. He asked questions. He asked, how can I help? And I'll never forget what the black man said. You need to talk to your people. White folks, you need to talk to your people. You don't walk through the United States or elsewhere in the world with the same kind of fear. You have to listen to their stories, their cries, their reasons for rioting. Show up in the streets when people gather and shed your tears for this bloodshed. Encourage the awakening of those who look like you and share in your privilege. This is not about you. Being on the defense helps no one. This is about us saving lives and reawakening the humanity within us all so that we do not destroy each other or sit back and watch as our brothers and sisters are destroyed. All lives matter. And I thank those of you who already fight in solidarity with your fellow brothers and sisters. Thank you for being here.
Government. I think it's funny that we forget that revolt, revolution, and protesting are what made this country. But when a black community decides to protest and revolt against the government, against its tyranny, it's a problem. And the media can't be in there to see what's really going on. That we have to struggle to get inside to figure out what is happening. That's a problem. So it's not, it's a savior. The founding fathers in America are seen as gods in our culture because they created this country. But when racial people, when black people come together to fight against the oppression in our country, it's a problem. Young people, it takes us to start a revolution. It starts with us because what happened to her, what happened to that mother is going to happen to my child. I should not have to grow up in fear that my son could possibly die just because he's black. Just because he's black. Just because of the color of my skin. I can't walk around knowing that I can achieve the success that I deserve, that I will work for as a college student at the University of Texas at Austin because I'm a black woman. That's all I have to say.
Listen. It pains me very deep that we have yet another young black boy gunned down. Look, when I was a kid, I used to be ashamed of my skin color because I had all these people telling me that you are a nigger, that you are slow, that you are dumb, that you will never be nothing. All right, that's what I was told when I was a kid. When I got into high school, I joined a gang. And we all do stupid stuff at some point or another. I still have some of the, pictures on my Facebook, and everything. But that's not who I am. It was a part in my life where I was doing something stupid, trying to be a part of something that I knew I could never be a part of. And now it pains me every morning that I have to wake up thinking that, there's still racism in the world. What's going to happen today? And it's crazy. And I like what she said. It pains me so much that I have to think about having children in this world and that my children will have to face this reality one day. It really pains me. And it really pains me that they could possibly go through the same thing. My 18-year-old son might be one day gunned down no reason, just for no other reason but for being black. It's ridiculous. You know, one of my favorite poets said it best. He said to him, he feels like freedom is nothing more than a carrot dangling out of the reach of horses to keep them moving without complaint. I don't want to feel like that my freedom is like that. I don't want to feel like that. So, on the positive side, it really warms me as a 21-year-old African-American male. All of us come together, and, you know, just to sit here for us to rally, for us to get loud, for us to not be in that complacent group of people who are silent and, you know, kind of yell from their couch side but don't really do anything about it. You know, it really warms my heart that we are out here, we are loud, and we are getting angry, we are getting enraged. Woo! And I just want to say I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I've never done this before, so please. I am a 23-year-old black woman, and for 23 of those years, I thought that I was an exception to the rule. I thought I talked well. I am well educated. I grew up in a middle-class family, that I was enough to pass in this country. I watched my father for 30 years fight for this nation, break his back, lose the ability to use his lungs for this. And I thought that I was enough because I didn't fit the narrative. But I'm not enough. I will never be enough in this country. And it breaks my heart. And so I'm going to cry, but it breaks my heart to know. No matter the changes that I make, the way that I talk, how many books that I read, how many philosophers and poets that I can quote, I am not enough in this country. I am constantly not acknowledged. I am not regarded. I am not listened to, and I am tired of it. I can go to a store and I can be sweet and kind and I can put on this sassy southern voice, but someone's still going to follow me, ask me if I need help finding something. I can get stopped on the side of the road by APD with billows of smoke coming out of the front of my car and be regarded as a suspect for something when I need help. I am tired. I am exhausted, and I think we all are. This has got to stop. This has got to end. And anybody who thinks that it's my community's responsibility to do this when it is happening to all of us, you have been lied to. It is all of our responsibility to stand up and say something. Silence is the loudest answer. You are enough?
Yeah.
And when people ask you what democracy looks like, tell them this is what democracy looks like. I am, where is the young lady with the veil?
She had to leave.
I am this young woman, although I've got 15 years on you. I'm this young woman. I'm this young woman. I'm this young man. Because to people who have power, we are all the same. We are Palestinians, and forgive my language, but we are the niggers of the U.S. All of us. Let's not fight each other. I know that the young lady was very upset when someone said, it's all of our lives. He was speaking truth. right? Because if they come for me in the nighttime, and once they're done with me, guess who they're coming for in the morning? So when all of your luck runs out, you can't trade on being male, you can't trade on being well educated. I'm also consider myself that a little bit. I also consider myself needing to learn a lot from my elders and from the people who came before me. When I can't trade on that currency anymore, guess who's coming for me? That's why we need to stand together, and that's why we are all the same. Woo!
Everybody keeps saying that they're not enough, or that if I'm gunned down, they're not. What picture are they going to show of me? Me drunk at a party with my friends, or me looking very solemn or thuggish or whatever. It doesn't matter what picture they show of you. It doesn't matter if you're not enough, because you deserve to live anyways. You don't have to be enough. You don't have to be at the top of your class. You don't have to graduate from high school. You have to be a human and treat other humans with the basic human decency, and that's when you deserve to live. You don't have to be enough. And kudos to you if you are, because that's amazing. But you don't have to be enough, and don't let them tell you that even if you check off every fucking thing on the list and they still don't give you acceptance, it doesn't matter. You deserve to be alive. And don't ever let anyone tell you anything differently, because you are important. Doesn't matter what you do or who you are or what you look like. You are so important. Thank you for all being here.
Quick announcement. I think I may have dropped my keys somewhere over here, so I walked all the way to my car and I didn't have them. I was mainly in that area, and it has my car keys and my house keys, so if you see any keys on the ground, can you please let me know.
What's next?
What do they look like? Keychain, anything?
Keychains.